lot lately, smartphone companies started concentrating on mid-range smartphones, which is somewhere around 10,000 to 20,000 rupees. Xiaomi also took part in the competition and nailed it with Redmi Note 3. But almost every company forgot about the ultra-budget smartphone which should be priced below 10,000. And so we have this, the Redmi 3S Prime, which is a beast of a phone in this price tag. We get two variants, one being the Redmi 3S which costs 6,999 and the other being the Redmi 3S Prime which costs 8,999, which I have here. The only difference being Redmi 3S has only 2GB RAM and 16GB internal storage, and it doesn't have fingerprint scanner, while the Redmi 3S Prime has the fingerprint scanner as well as it has a bigger 3GB RAM and 32GB internal storage. But as we all know, every smartphone has its own downside. Let me help you make a purchase decision. If you want to buy anything by the end of this video, or specifically this phone, use the Amazon or Flipkart affiliate links provided in the description below, which will help this channel grow. First, let's talk about the display and build quality. It looks a lot similar to the Redmi Note 3 except for the size and the camera placement. Everyone expects a phone to have a plastic build with a price tag like this, but Xiaomi nailed it with a metal body. But remember, the top and the bottom parts are plastic caps for better signal strength. I chose this dark grey color because that's the only variant which has the black bezels, which doesn't ruin the media consuming experience like the white bezels do. The moment anyone gets hold of this phone, they won't believe it's priced too low because of that metal body. The rounded design and the rounded edges makes the phone a little bit slippery. Onto the front, it has a 5-inch 720p IPS LCD display, which is okay for a 5-inch device because previously I used Lenovo A7000 and that has a 5.5-inch display with the same 720p resolution with less ppi. That is 267 ppi and this has 294 ppi. So comparatively, 720p should look better on a 5-inch device than a 5.5-inch device. And 5-inch is a perfect size for most of the people, and one-handed usability is perfect. You can touch every corner of the screen. Colors are a bit to the warmer side and a little bit undersaturated, but that can be tweaked from the settings. Viewing angles are really better than most of the budget-oriented smartphones. There is little to no color distortion while changing the viewing angle. Display gets really bright, but not as bright as the Coolpad Note 3 that my brother uses. Anyway, there is no problem viewing the screen content in the broad daylight. The power and volume buttons are to the right and they are not clicky like the one on my Lenovo A7000. But the fingerprint scanner and double tap to sleep using Lenovo launcher saves my day. The speaker grill is on the back side of the phone and only the left side is a speaker and the right side is only for aesthetic purpose. The volume is not so loud and you can easily cover the speaker grill while playing games or watching videos, and the vibration intensity is also less, due to which I missed a few calls. The audio output from the audio jack that's situated in the top is really great. It also has an IR blaster to control the home appliance, which is a nice addition to a budget-oriented smartphone. Xiaomi gets props for that. There are two microphone holes, one on the top and the other on the bottom of the phone, which delivers good quality conversation. Onto the left, it has a hybrid SIM tray slot where you can use two SIM cards or a SIM card and a memory card. This fingerprint scanner is not the fastest, but it gets the job done every 8 times out of 10 trials. It has capacitive navigation buttons and they are not backlit, which may be a problem for a few people, but it's not a problem for me at least. And just below the home button, it has a multicolored notification light which is not noticeable until it lights up. And I haven't seen any company putting it in an affordable smartphone. Again, props for that. It has a 13 and 5 megapixel camera, rear and front respectively, and we will talk about it in the camera section. And finally, the phone is a little bit thicker and it's a bit to the heavier side, but I don't mind because they have included that big 4100 mAh non-removable battery, which we will talk later. But considering the size of the battery, the thickness is actually impressive. And as far as display and build quality goes, this phone is perfect than all the other phones at this price point. And for people who are interested, the YouTube app can play up to 720p resolution. But remember, 5-inch smartphones offer one-handed usability. That doesn't mean it's not good for media consumption, but larger display gives better media consuming experience. And now to the next important thing, the software experience and performance. It's running on MIUI 7 while this video is being recorded, and already it got 2 updates and Xiaomi claims they will update it to MIUI 8 soon. I was not a fan of MIUI because I never used it on a Xiaomi phone earlier. But I flashed them on my Lenovo A7000, but the story is completely different after I started using this UI on this phone. Most of the people prefer stock experience, but if the software is heavily tweaked to give extra functionality with a lot of features, it's a big welcome from me. Anyway, I'll install Nova Launcher to get rid of that app drawerless UI. Even though it has that heavy skinned UI, it doesn't show any lag at all. 2 features that I like the most are the quick ball, which works like the assistive touch on Apple devices, and the next is one-handed mode, which will be useful on devices which has 5.5-inch displays, but if you want it, that's there. I am experiencing problem with few apps like Dango where it doesn't allow me to use that floating app feature. Also cannot find the draw over apps settings. But other applications like Facebook Messenger and Flink's applications work perfectly. That's a weird problem. Other than that, everything works fine. You can also tweak the notification light to your preferred color. You can never find this in a budget device. The only bug I found was equalizer doesn't work. If I tap that, the phone will freeze for some time and force close. Talking about performance, Snapdragon 430 processor, which is the latest SoC, works like a charm. You will never experience any stutter or lag. The user experience is very snappy. And about that 3GB RAM, it does a good job keeping a lot of apps in memory for multitasking purpose. But the results may vary with the 2GB version of this phone. Most of the applications doesn't restart while multitasking. Again, Xiaomi gets appreciation for that RAM management. You can lock few applications just by swiping down on the application which you would like them to stay in the RAM memory, so that even though you clear all applications, they will still stay in memory. I have to mention there is a little drop frames and stuttering issues here and there, only in Asphalt 8 game, but most of the people won't even notice. Modern Combat Nova 3 and most other games work surprisingly fine. The Adreno 505 does a pretty nice job at graphics except for Asphalt 8 as mentioned earlier. Fingerprint scanner is not the fastest, but it gets the job done most of the times, and placement is really convenient. Phone gets hot after a few minutes of gaming because it has that metal body but doesn't overheat. It's fairly usable. IR Blaster works how it is intended to work, but it doesn't work with the air conditioner at home. Although the Mi Remote app works fine, I recommend you to try AnyMode Smart Remote, which is fairly easy to use. Talking about sensors, it has almost all the important sensors like gyroscope, compass, magnetometer, etc. I have seen a lot of companies keeping these sensors in their budget-oriented devices, but you will never have problem with the lack of important sensor here on this phone. And yes, it does have USB OTG support. Overall, I never expected wonderful performance from this phone. But this phone surprised me. To the most important aspect of any phone, the battery life. It has that huge 4100 mAh non-removable battery which never disappointed me from the time I started using it. The battery will get you throughout the complete day even though you play a lot of games, watch videos and stay on Wi-Fi or mobile data the whole day. My typical day starts at 7 in the morning to 8 in the night and still have around 25 to 30% juice left. Even though screen on time doesn't mean the actual usage, but anyway, for people who are interested, it never got below 5 or 6 hours, and when heavily used, screen on time was around 4.5 hours with 30% juice left, so you should have no problem using it for the whole day. Xiaomi also claims it has quick charge capability, but it doesn't mention which version. But the Snapdragon 430 has the support for quick charge 3.0, and the charger that's provided by them is the regular 5V 2A charger, which is quick charge 1.0, and with the charger we get in the box, the phone gets charged in about 2.5 hours from 30% to 100%. But if you can get a quick charge 3.0 supported charging dock, this phone may get charged from 0 to 100 in 1 hour 45 minutes or so. So yes, it supports quick charge 3.0. I couldn't test it, but one YouTube channel with name BCD Technology shows the proof that it supports quick charge 3.0. Check out this channel and let him know I sent you there. Link to his channel in the description below. The standby time is also awesome. So on to the next important thing, camera. Camera is that area where a lot of budget smartphones usually fall off, but this 13MP rear camera produces really great and sharp images. The shutter speed is really fast and the details are pretty good as you would expect in natural sunlight. Pictures seem to be a little bit overexposed and the dynamic range is pretty decent, but HDR brings the detail to life, but takes a lot of time to process the image. Pics came out well in artificial lighting as well, and the depth of field is really amazing. It struggles in low light conditions, but then remember the value for the money you get. Pictures from the front camera are also nice, but the dynamic range is almost off and it overexposes most of the time. You can shoot videos up to 1080p, it changes exposure faster to compensate with the scene, and the camera focuses very quickly and the transition is pretty smooth. The only downside about this camera is it isn't stable while shooting videos, but as I already said, we are pretty much getting more for less. Now finally, about the worst thing about this phone, or at least this phone I have right now, occasionally gets restarted and the restart happens when I try to use the gallery application. And talking about gallery application, it doesn't show the thumbnail of the pictures, and when you tap on a picture it just shows that it's loading, and after a few trials the phone freezes, shuts off and restarts. But from the past 3 days I didn't experience any problem with gallery or restart problems. So that's a good sign. Overall, the phone is very decent for this price tag, and there is no other competitor who can deliver a product with aggressive price tag like 8999 and give you these many features. If your budget is contended to 6000 to 9000 rupees and there is no way you can increase your budget, then Redmi 3S or 3S Prime may be your best bet. But if you can increase your budget by 3000 rupees, Redmi Note 3 is a great choice. If you already have a better phone with better specs than this, you can use this as your secondary device as well. But these days you won't experience much difference between a phone which costs 9000 and 15000. That means you can also use it as a primary device considering you are okay with a 5-inch compact one-handed device. This phone will be available at 12 PM every Wednesday. You don't need any registration, just stay online at 12 PM and you're all set. If you have any question, ask me in the comment section below, and if this video helped you make the purchase decision, then hit this video a thumbs up and share this video so that you may also help someone make their purchase decision. Thanks for watching and have a nice day.